The process for me taking over the business was actually many years in the making, and it started with my father and the things that he had me start overseeing.
It is extremely important to identify who the correct person to take over is or should be. The U.S. economy is built on the backbone of small businesses, and of those, 19% are family-owned businesses. Yet, almost half of owners do not have an exit strategy. Here's how one family-owned retail business is navigating that challenge.
Buffalo Exchange is a buy-sell trade model of new and recycled clothing, started in 1974 in Tucson, Arizona, by my folks. My mother was a thrift store junkie, and she really thought that there might be a way for customers to shop the recycled fashion industry without having to go through thrift stores. Buffalo Exchange is actually not a thrift store. We're a for-profit business. If we find something that we can purchase to sell again in the store, we'll buy it right then and there. We give them 25% in cash of the selling price or 50% in trade.
The way that they set up their business model is super interesting. Identifying a product that is worth recycling and reselling and paying the seller on the spot so that they can have full ownership of their inventory. Having said that, today this is also dangerous if perhaps the number of units in their inventory gets to be too big.
This is the store at the one that was right on top of the U of A and our very first space. My mother had been thinking that when Buffalo Exchange turned 50, which was this past January, that she would use that as the milestone to actually retire. She is 82 now and worked a lot longer than most people do.
It is always better to take longer to set up the succession plan and ensure that the new generation feels comfortable, has everything that they need to succeed, but also to have conversations that work the other way around. Have conversations with the owner who is exiting and explain to them how the marketplace has changed.
All those sweater skirts are so good. It's really important to learn all the aspects of your business. Things I didn't really care a whole lot about became things I had to know a lot about. It's really important that you at least have the basics of how a business makes money and what can impact it. So we went live on the 1st.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yep. All stores rolled out, and the test stores had been in August.
Yes. Buffalo Exchange has gone from being a very small business to having close to 800 employees. We are in 15 states, and we operate 41 stores. Buffalo Exchange revenues hover between about $96 million to $100 million a year. We still think of ourselves as small business inside the United States. The majority of our inventory from the customers within a very small radius of our stores. So we are very community-based.
They have a very smart business model in place because rather than having to ship inventory and having to deal with logistics in all the states where the business operates, they actually have local hubs through which they receive the inventory and they sell to the same community.
Finding new locations isn't that easy. We definitely were opportunistic. So we have a big connection here in Tucson to the University of Arizona. We were literally on the edge of campus, and we do try very hard to be in communities that have student populations. And then we look in places that are kind of alternative. So Austin, Texas was a good market for us. And then eventually we moved into demographics research and figuring out what are really our customers based on the stores that we have, and then we could look for those demographics in other areas.
Specifically, you should be near traffic for the particular segment that you're trying to serve. Today, there is so much choice for all of us in the marketplace, the physical marketplace, the digital marketplace, that just the numbers don't cut it anymore. You need to know that you're addressing a very specific type of consumer, which in marketing is called psychographics.
For brick and mortar, you want to be in a location that absolutely has foot traffic or drive-by traffic. Neighborhoods change, cities change, so I'm looking forward to seeing what might be out there, and that will help us then, of course, with moving forward for new locations.
Ideally, a business should open a new location after having validated a hypothesis that there is a consumer segment at this location. If the research has been done, you should start making money immediately.
For like another options.
Oh,
Vintage.
that's very fun. The whole concept of thrift and secondhand clothing has changed enormously in the last 50 years. People don't view used clothing as a stigma. They view it as a source of pride, I would say. It's very popular in Gen Z. I think brick and mortar competes well against digital because it's an experience. And I just don't think that when you're online, you're getting an experience. You're looking at things, but you're not really having a tactile, sensational experience with the items in a fun environment.
The treasure hunt is very much part of the value proposition, but I wonder if all young customers who are interested in recycled or upcycled fashion are willing to spend so much time hunting for that treasure.
Buffalo Exchange actually has tried on 3 different occasions to do online shopping, and I would say that for us was not an economical way to function. People think that if they've put a huge amount of money into something, then by golly, they're going to make it work. The truth of the matter is, if you can see the warning signs, it doesn't really matter how much money you put into it, you should pull out.
While there is no rule to know when you should pull out from this operation, it's very important to understand some very straightforward mathematics that explain how that lump sum of money that you put into the business is going to be captured again. You need to decide very quickly whether that new location, whether it is physical or digital, is giving you the returns to recapture your costs.
My vision of the company is that we can make it another 50 years and get to 100 years. That was my dad's goal. We have to honor what the customers want and how we operate with what's going to happen down the road and how do we incorporate technology. Hey, how's it going?
Good, how are you?
Good. It looks like it's chilly there. My daughter, Melissa, is involved in the business because she had an aha moment a couple of years ago and decided that this was what she wanted to do. So we had her initially on a 5-year plan that just got her to know the basics of how we work and how we make money.
The arrangement was that she has a 5-year contract, so a terminal contract for now, which would allow her to understand the basics of the business. I don't see any kind of nepotism here, just the opposite. The granddaughter could be the leader for the company, and I think there is a lot of pride to see your daughter, granddaughter taking over.
We're working hard on setting up a new place for her physically as well as a new job path to get her to the next level.
All businesses should have either a succession plan or an exit plan. This is something that is not always clear because a lot of people get into business as sole proprietors of the business, which means that their personal life, their family economics, and the business economics are entangled, and it's very, very hard to exit. So there has to be a separate entity that is parallel to the family.
I definitely am hopeful that she will end up being the leader for the company.